Alex I can smell all of the smoke, all that love and positivity, that shit is a joke. I should dead them all, my heart ski down slopes. When you did piggyback, everybody wanna see you broke, bro. Me and snakes don't lip lock. I don't think the feet look good on me like flip-flops.
Alright, let me talk to you real quick about Rexius Nutrition in Ralston. Rexius carries an awesome line of pre-workout from brands like Alpha Lion, Bucked Up, 5150, Insane Labs, and several other brands. They also have a great selection of protein powder, including my personal favorite, the All Max Hexapro cookies and cream flavored. Can't go wrong with that. They also carry the very popular brand Axe and Sledge protein powders, branched chain amino acids, which are crucial to stay hydrated, and pre-workout. They also carry locally owned brands like VHI Fit, carry their protein powders in several different flavors. They also have pre-workout, branched chain amino acids, vegan protein powder as well. And if you have a sweet tooth like me, you gotta try this Omaha protein popcorn. The owners Jamie and Brent Stryker are absolute studs and are very knowledgeable with a background in bodybuilding. Jamie even reached pro status as an IFBB pro women's physique competitor. Stop by Rexius Nutrition in Ralston on the corner of 84th and Q and receive 10% off when you tell them you're there on an official visit.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Oscar Galindo from Prep Red Zone, Nebraska. I'm here with another episode of The Official Visit. I got a very special guest I'm super excited to talk with today. He is, out of Mullen, Nebraska. Went to UNK, was a stud there on the defensive line. He's out there now at Loomis as the head football coach, doing great things out there. And we'll also be talking about his lineman camps coming up this summer. So without any further ado, we got Mr. Tye Spies, head coach of Loomis football. How you doing, Coach?
Good. How are you today?
I'm doing all right, man. Just hanging in there, enjoying the fact that it's kind of getting a little bit nicer, man. I'm getting sick of this wind, but at least it's turning a little bit.
Horrible.
Yeah, for sure. All right, man. So the way we kind of start these out is I do these introduction questions or kind of icebreakers, kind of get to know you a little bit. And for these, I kind of want to throw it back a little bit. First one I got is, can you walk us through what a game day prep day looks like for you? Do you have any routines or any superstitions from back in your days at UNK?
Oh, yeah. I think the one that really where it started was when I was in high school. I always we'd get dressed in the locker room, and I'd always go outside our locker room and pace back and forth, a set number of times and do stuff like that. But then when I got to UNK, the one thing I did, and we did it in high school too, is I'd always just lay down for the first 15 minutes of getting dressed with a towel over my head and just relax, listen to music, try not to get too worked up, and then kind of got into the mode after that.
Yeah, for sure. Just kind of get yourself in the right mental space there for you.
Yep.
For sure. So then, one thing that's always kind of consistent, people kind of handle their pregame a little bit different, but one thing I've noticed every time I ask this, it's consistent, is music. There's always some music involved, whether it's fast pitch, in your face, or some mellow stuff. What was your kind of music style before going into a game? And then do you have a go-to song that's like, all right, I'm gonna turn this on and I'm flipping that switch?
Oh yeah. In high school, I was a Eminem guy.
Okay.
Classic rock, anything that kind of got the head banging, got me going.
Yeah.
College, I had to switch things because the college warm-up's a little different. It's I felt like I was wasting too much energy getting too hyped up because in high school, you play the entire time. College, you're playing for 5-10 minutes at a time, and then you're resting for 5-10 minutes, whatever it is. And so I had to go to more of Imagine Dragons type thing.
Okay.
But the one song I always listen to before every game, no matter what, got me to flip my switch, is "Till I Collapse" by Eminem. That's my go-to.
Yo, that one, that's got to be up there. If there's an all-time pump-up playlist, that's definitely got to be up there, man, for sure.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Can't go wrong with that one. So then the next one I got here, and this one is brought to us by our sponsor here at the official visit. That's Rexius Nutrition in Ralston. I want to know, and I guess it's kind of not two-sided, but I want two answers from this. I want to know who was the biggest weight room monster you saw at your time at UNK, and then who is the current weight room monster in that Loomis locker room?
I think the weight room monster kid I played with at UNK was Jordan Ingram. We called him Plug.
Okay.
He's from Miami, Florida. I don't know. He was 6'1", 6'2", our nose tackle, plug up the middle, take 2-3 guys. No big. He was a big dude. He was insanely strong. It was just one of those things. Like he threw weight on there, and he just bench press 400 pounds plus easy, just repped it out. 500, 600 pounds on squat. He was just a monster. It was just one of those things. He worked at it, but also just a naturally strong kid, so it kind of went hand in hand.
Yeah, for sure.
Then he was fun to play next to.
Yeah, I bet.
He was awesome. Then probably Loomis, our biggest guy right now, who just loves the weight room, is probably Caden Swanson. He's kind of our up-and-coming kid. He loves the workout and loves getting stronger. He's already a naturally strong kid, but he's really taken the steps from a freshman. Now he's going to be a junior this upcoming year, and has really started to commit himself a lot. But he's slinging some impressive numbers around. Another kid's Walter Kenny. He just hit a 425 squat yesterday when we were maxing out, and he got it pretty easy. So they're the same class. They'll be fun to have.
Definitely, some getting strong all over the place there, it looks like, man. So for sure, man, love to see that. I'm sure you're ecstatic, seeing all those numbers and seeing, hopefully some weight room numbers or weight room records start falling this summer with some of you guys. So for sure, man. And then the last one, icebreaker question here I got for you. I'm a big food guy. I love to eat. I love to try new places. But I want to know, back in Kearney, what was the go-to spot to grab a bite to eat for you and you and the fellas?
Oh, probably Jerseys.
Yup.
They're north. Love me some Jerseys. Their wings are great. We'd usually go there. Our D-line group would always go eat there on Thursdays before our games during the season. That was kind of our tradition. So that was our go-to spot.
Yeah, man. Yeah, dude. Yeah, bury me in Jerseys, man, with some some Southwest wings.
Absolutely.
Yeah, on Monday when it was like I'm not even sure if they do that anymore, but like the 45-cent wing deal.
Yeah.
Oh man, I was in there, dude. I was in there doing numbers for sure.
Oh yeah, that was
for sure. Yeah. But yeah, man, those are, like I said, those are kind of just our icebreaker questions. Just kind of get to know you a little bit, get it this interview up and going. So now I kind of want to talk a little bit more, transition to talk a little bit about yourself and kind of your playing career and that transition into coaching. But before we, talk about all that, definitely want to start at the beginning. Where was that? Where did that start, or where did that, interest or love for football kind of start for you? And was there like at any point like a moment or a play or a game or something where it like kind of made you like realize, oh, like I want to do this as long as I possibly can?
Yeah, probably I enjoyed it growing up a lot. We got to play, the flag football, 3rd and 4th grade, and then 5th grade started playing tackle football. And then probably when it started really like, man, I love this. Like this is really started getting big into me. It's probably my 6th grade year from Mullen. There's a game that I had 3 touchdowns and 2 kickoff returns for touchdown. I was the only one. We weren't very good. I was the only one who had played tackle football, and everyone else on my team hadn't played tackle football that year.
Yeah.
But returned 2 kick returns to the house, and then took another one. A handoff. I used to be a running back in the day.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of when it was like, man, this is fun. And then junior high kind of built it, and then when I was getting in high school. Probably my senior year is when it started hitting me. Really, it's probably my freshman year when my older brother signed at UNK to play, and then I started going to camps my sophomore year. I was like, man, this is awesome.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go play in college. I'm gonna do this for as long as I can. So, I've always loved football. Just always wanted to be around it. Always kept on recruiting. Played Madden. Whatever I could get my hands on. NCAA.
For
I
sure.
still play NCAA 14 sometimes, you know.
The golden
Got
years.
to.
Yep, for sure. Yeah, man, that's awesome. Yeah, definitely, kind of hearing, how you got started up. And I know you mentioned your older brother, and then signed at UNK, and he played there, and then you also have a younger brother who I believe he just finished his senior season, correct?
Mhm.
Out there as well. How much did they kind of influence you as well? Like, playing ball with them, I'm sure, older brother was always probably giving you some crap, and you were probably turning around and giving it to a younger brother. How was that? Having brothers, I guess, that were like super invested into some of the same stuff as you were, and then I guess out of the three, who's winning in a straight up board drill?
No, I don't know on that one. No, my older brother was a senior when I was a freshman, and he was, in high school, he was the biggest dude I'd seen.
Yeah.
He was 6'5", 6'6", 300 plus pounds on an 8-man team. He's just a monster.
Stick out.
And I always had to go against him in practice, or a lot of times in practice, and just seeing how he pushed himself to be good. Always like, I wanted to be that good or better. Usually how little brothers work.
Yeah.
But we went to the state semifinals that year, and so then I was like, man, I want to get back there. I want to get the job done, and we never were able to. But that's just really where I started. Like, I want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then once he got to UNK, I became friends with all of his offensive lineman buddies, and they kind of were like another big brothers or more big brothers to me. Cole Manhart was a 2-time All-American at UNK and got a chance in the NFL, and he always was, would text me every once in a while, hey, good job, keep it up. He just kind of was another big brother to me. But that's really where it kind of he kind of paved the way for the UNK route, because it was just always had felt like home to me, and other schools had talked to me and whatnot, but he kind of paved the way.
Yeah.
And then little brother, I didn't get a chance to play with him ever. He kind of messed up the one time because he went to South Dakota for a semester before he came to UNK.
Okay.
But he was an 8th grader when I was a senior, and I always just wanted them, push them. I always tried to go to as many games as I could. I always just wanted to be, a good big brother, and hopefully set a good example like my older brother had did for me too.
Yeah, definitely. So then, I know you just touched on this as well, but like, was having your brother there and having kind of knowing the area? I'm sure you probably had been there by the time you were getting ready to commit and stuff like that. You probably were familiar with the area, the team, some of the players even. Was that kind of the biggest reason for signing with UNK, or were there other factors kind of playing into that as well?
Yeah, it was a big reason. Being from Mullen, small school, I loved that UNK was a smaller school. The class sizes were small, because just like the thought of going to like a UNL or Wyoming, a Division I big school where the 60 to 100 kids in the class, like, it's mind blowing to me when my average, I graduated with 8 kids in my class. Like, it's tiny.
Yeah, for sure.
But that was a big reason why, is just because I was comfortable. I was, I knew the coaches, I knew all the players already. I was always around them, and so it just kind of felt like home. And then as I was coming out and getting recruited, they were planning on having me play right away as a tight end before I switched to defensive line. And so that was another big aspect of it. I was going to get playing time early in my career, and, not all colleges could have said that, had that recruiting thing. So like, that was another big reason why.
Yeah, definitely. And, like you said, you went in as a tight end, and then you kind of made that transition over to defensive line, and, kind of looking at it, 3 all-conference defensive line selections later, and all these accolades. It might have been a pretty good pretty good choice to make that transition. But how was it at the time? Like you said, you were kind of told maybe you might get some playing time at tight end early, so you might go in with the thought of I'm going to be a college tight end, and you kind of hear that I'm going to be switching over to defensive line. Was that something that was initiated by coaches, or how did that kind of play out? And kind of what was where were you at mentally during that time?
So when I walked on I didn't walk on at UK, but when I stepped on campus at UNK, their plan for me was I was going to start or, play right away. And so I ran with, the older guys, my older brother, to, Cole Manharts, the Pete Troushes, like all their starters right away. And it was the adjustment from 8-man offense, simple, to going to 11-man offense. Just trying to pick it up is kind of where things. And I wasn't quite physically ready, being coming out of high school. There's a huge difference when you're 18 years old, going to go play against 22, 23-year-old, college seniors. That's a huge difference. So I wasn't ready. So they redshirted me, and then the coaching staff had resigned, fired kind of thing. It was Coach Morris. He resigned at the end of the year. They had a couple years of 3-8. And so then a new coaching staff had came in, Coach Lambo, and then they brought in a bunch of transfer guys that got pushed ahead of me on the tight end depth chart, and because I needed more development, and they really needed guys on the defensive line, and I was recruited for both out of high school, but they just wanted me to play at tight end early. And so then I did think that I was going to play at tight end or have as much success at tight end. So I had asked to be switched to defensive line. So switched to D-line in the winter after my second year of college, redshirted my first year. And then for a week in the spring ball, I was a starter. And then kind of the rest is history after that. I got my first start and had good games after that. And 3-year starter, 3-year all-conference type thing. So
yeah, definitely, man. Yeah, like I said, pretty good decision there to make that transition over to the defensive line. What were some kind of the challenges, like you said, like just even playing tight end from 8-man to 11-man was was difficult. How was the challenge, going from college offense to college defense, or was it a little bit more natural, just see ball, get ball kind of deal?
Yeah, I'm a better defensive player. It just came more naturally to me. What I didn't like when I was playing tight end in college is you constantly have to think, what coverage you're in. I need to adjust my route, who I'm blocking, what defense they're in. And I never felt like I could just play ball. I never felt, I was thinking too much and couldn't fully play. Yeah. And then once I had switched to defense, once I kind of, understood my rules, I just got to go play football. And it was fun. I loved it. It was back to kind of, just like being in high school, just having fun playing with your boys. And I'm more naturally on the defensive side of things. But that was the biggest change for me, is going from an 8-man offense where, our top passing play was called cross the ends, ready to go. It's pretty simple. And then all the verbiage and different offense stuff that you go into college and all the stuff you got to know. I mean, there's a big difference, and it's a learning curve. Going from 8-man to 11-man, the speed and obviously the amount of players are on there is a big difference. But the college, that's probably the biggest thing, is just the size and speed of everybody. This is huge, and it goes even more when you go from 8-man high school to college. So
yeah, man, I can't imagine, dude. So then, like, from there, do you have like a welcome to college moment where you just got like, oh man, yeah, I'm out here now for real?
Oh yeah, my very first play, my third year, my sophomore year of college, first start playing Mo West and playing D end. They had an All-American left guard. And so I put my hands on the tackle, and they get double down with the tight end. I'm like, all right, I'm holding my own, no big deal. Well, the All-American left guard pulls and just takes us all out, just levels.
Yeah.
So I go get pancaked onto my back. My chin strap comes and hits my nose as my helmet's falling off. Blood's pouring out of my nose. Put my helmet back on. Everyone in college runs a hurry-up offense, so I just get up, get mine back up. Blood's pouring out of my face mask. And I was like, all right, well, this is college. Here we go.
Yeah, man, they didn't even give you time to process what just happened at all.
Nope. It was the very first play, too. I got, my goodness. I was like, wow, am I made for this right now? But I adjusted and it was fine. But.
So, where do you go from there mentally? A lot of people might be like, oh, shoot, like, all right, and then kind of maybe fold a little bit, but, you kind of kept going and, proved yourself. How did you kind of keep pushing through a play like that, especially like you said on your first play?
Yeah, It was, I don't know, it was a while ago, but it was just one of those things as like as a competitor and who I am, growing up with brothers, it makes you mad.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're embarrassed.
Yeah.
You're like, crap, I just got
Not gonna do me like that.
yeah, I can't do that. And so then you get mad, and then just probably elevated my game for that. I was like, man, I got to bring it. Like this isn't high school. I'm not playing the high school teams and 8-man in Sand Hills, Nebraska anymore.
Yeah.
Out there, it's like I got to this is a different game. And so that first game was really an adjustment. After that, I was like, man, I got to bring it. I got to step everything up. And then after that, I was fine. There's obviously games that I probably still got my butt whooped, by players, but just the league we played in, it was the SEC of the Division II.
Tough for sure. So then, on top of the accolades, like we mentioned earlier, the all-conference defensive lineman, another very important notch on your belt is you were multiple-time, MI or all-conference academic honor roll and stuff. That's huge because, like, as we all know, you're student athletes. Even though some people might not, word Cardell Jones, they aren't there to play school. But like, how important is it to be able to take advantage of having an opportunity like that where you're playing football and you're a football player in the eyes of like your peers and stuff like that, but being able to realize like I have an opportunity to take advantage of the scholarship and get my degree and be able to set myself up for after my playing days are over. How important is that to be able to take advantage of that as a word to the young players coming up?
Yeah, it was a huge opportunity. I probably grew up in a situation where I might not have been able to go to a 4-year college right away if I hadn't gotten a scholarship of some sort to go. And so that was a big opportunity in itself. And then this is a schooling aspect of it. Not everyone gets that chance to go to a school and gets that help paid for. And so, just take advantage of it. Because you never know, there's plenty of kids that would probably be dying to be in your shoes in that same situation. So you just have to take advantage of it and make the most of it because you're investing in yourself when that happens. You're investing down the road. I had a college coach or a GA, Parker Jolly. He's my first position coach, and he told us that it's like you're paying money, you're investing your money in yourself, but you're going to make it back, 10 times just because you have that college degree or going to college to get your education down the road.
Yeah, for sure. And that's, like I said, that's something that I feel like is, super important to, be able to take advantage of that as well. Like, you were able to get it done on the field and in the classroom. So, that's huge, especially for the young players who, I'm sure you've seen it with teammates and, I've seen it just with, classmates and stuff like that. Those guys that don't necessarily care too much about the school aspect and kind of, end of the year, end of the season, the scholarship's pulled or they're ineligible or whatever it may be. So, yeah, for sure. That definitely important to, make sure you're taking advantage of that. So then from there, graduated, these honors in, football, you transitioned over to coaching. You're head coach now at Loomis, coach the football. When did you kind of decide that was something that you wanted to pursue, or is that something that you'd always kind of wanted to do once, your playing days would come to an end? Like, where did that decision come from?
Yeah, I had a couple great coaches, and when I grew up in Mullen, I had Mike Brown, who's a Hall of Fame coach, and then I had Rusty Moore as my basketball coach, and those guys really shaped me and really showed me the impact that a coach can make. They shaped me attitude-wise, showed me what the game can bring and how to get the most out of myself. And so after that, once I was in high school, I realized, man, I really want to coach. I can't picture myself if I'm not playing. I need to be coaching. I got to have my hands on doing something, get back to the game. And so it was from the very beginning. I started going down the college football route. So whenever I'm done, I need to help coach some aspect. It's just that itch. I have the football itch, and that's how I got to get it done.
For sure. Yeah. So then, I'm sure it's one thing to like say you want to be a coach, and it's another thing once you're the man with the title of head coach. I'm sure there's a ton of different things that you didn't even think about that are now on your plate and stuff like that. What have kind of been some of the biggest challenges that you've kind of faced as, a head coach of the football team, and how do you kind of, work your way through those?
I think the biggest change, because I was an assistant at Cambridge for 2 years, and then when I became the head coach, I think the biggest change is just you have to make every decision for, the kids, like practice time, bus time, when you're leaving, what are we wearing, like just the day-to-day stuff, practice plans, practice drills, like just all the little decisions you don't necessarily think about when you're not the head coach. And then once you're the head coach, you realize like, I've got to make 50 or 60 decisions just to have a practice in, one day. You got to, so like there's a lot of background decision makings that you got to make that most people don't realize, and I'm sure in the college level and even the NFL, like it's 100 times that, way more than that, what it is in high school. But that was my biggest adjustment, just the amount of decisions and planning and organization that needs to happen.
Yeah, definitely, man. Yeah, I can't, just even right there in your answer, I was like, dude, I didn't even think about like bus stuff, like what time you guys are leaving and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, for sure. So then, that's the outside stuff. But then when it comes to actual coaching, how do you make sure you keep you guys bought in? And, you guys ended the season last year, I believe 4-5, but you had to you guys made it to the playoffs. You guys seem to be kind of building. You have a very good, young group of players that's, from the sounds of it, sound hungry and want to, improve and make the team better. How do you make sure you guys are all bought in and kind of keep you guys hungry?
Yeah, it's tough. There's plenty of times when, we've played some good teams the past 2 years. My first year we played Kennesaw, who won state. And then the second year we played Hitchcock County, who won state. So like this past year was the first time we hadn't played the state champion in our class on our schedule. But we still played, some, Dundee County was still, a very good tough team. Yeah. And so like we play some of those teams, and it's tough when you get whooped, 62-0 or 44-6, whatever it is, and try to get your teams like, hey, that's a unreal football team. They're very, very good, and then try to get them back on track. And I think that's the hardest thing, at times is like when kids aren't seeing the success that they want to see, and then they start looking elsewhere or trying to like looking forward to wrestling or basketball, whatever it is. So like that is tough, but I think just, I'm still trying to figure that part out exactly the best way to do it. But we've had some good success the past couple of years, and we keep building. And I think that's just the biggest thing is just keeping them looking forward and keeping everything positive to like, hey, we got our butts whooped, but we gave them fits for, a half of football before they got us figured out, or we made them change their game plan and adjust to us. And so you always got to keep things, positive when things are down. And that's the best way I've figured out. I'm sure I'll learn more as I go. I'm still pretty green as a head coach, but I'm learning as I go.
There you go. It's all a learning process, man, for sure. A learning experience. So then, like I mentioned, you have a great young group of kids out there. I want a name or two of the players that you think are going to just blow up this season.
Well, I think we know of one that he kind of blew up last year, Coy Meyer. He was he started for us at linebacker and kind of our fullback position as a freshman, and really showed some promise. Then last year we had to move him to QB just because we didn't really have a true QB. And he kind of blew up. He had finished the year with 132 tackles, passed for 1,000 and ran for 800. He was just kind of our heart guy. Like he made the engine go. He was the motor, He's going to have a big year. Ben Tromke is going to have a big year. He had 25 catches for 300 and some yards or 400 and some yards and 9 touchdowns. I think Caden Swanson's really growing into it. I think one who's really numbers-wise hasn't shown much just because last year as a freshman is Jace Shukar. I really think he's going to have a big year for us. He's a year older. We didn't put him in tough situations last year as a freshman just because we didn't. He was a little more undersized, but he's really put on the muscle, really committed to the weight room. He keeps getting faster. Just the other day, he ran a 4.6 40.
Oh, wow.
So I think he's really going to have a big year and kind of a welcoming this year as a hit for his sophomore year. So
nice. Yeah. Sound like you got a couple, breakout candidates on the squad there. And yeah, like, I'm excited to see. It sounds like, they've been taking the weight room serious and, trying to really take that next step up. So then, from coaching, for you, it doesn't end with just, Loomis, football. You and then Coach Squiers, and I'm sorry if I mispronounced this, but Coach Hoelck?
Hoelck.
Okay. Coach Hoelck, you guys, was last year the first season of the camps, or was it this?
Sort of.
Yeah.
So it started after my first year out of college.
Okay.
Dave Squiers is really the mastermind of it. Yeah. He wanted to do a lineman camp, and he was our center at UNK, and he all conference guy, 4-year starter, captain type thing. And so he hit me up, and we graduated together. And he's like, "Do you want to do the defensive side of things? If I do the offense, and we can kind of bring some guys along with us." I'm like, "Absolutely. This sounds like a great idea." There's not very many lineman camps, so I think that would have been like 2019, 2020. I think it was summer 2019 we had done it, maybe summer 2020. I can't remember exactly. And we had just done one camp there at Cozad because Coach Squiers was teaching at Cozad at the time.
Yeah.
So we had a connection there. And then obviously with the COVID thing, it kind of messed up a lot of our building of that. And then our summer of 22, I got to remember my dates here. We did a couple camps. And then so like last summer, the summer of 23 is when we had a good year. We had 4 solid camps and started gaining some traction, getting our name out there a little bit more. And this year, I think we're up to 8 camps. Yeah. So like we're really starting to get out there, and we just have a passion for lineman play. Like he was the offensive lineman, I was the defensive lineman. Coach, Hoelck, Corey Hoelck, he played at UNK with us and was All-American. And he loves offensive line. So we just have 3 guys that love line play and just want to give back and help kids get better at blocking or get better at defense, get better, get their name out there, because everyone has 5-on-5 or 7-on-7 or skill camps.
Yeah.
But our name comes from the Unsung Heroes, and you can't do anything in football without your line.
Yeah.
So like that's kind of where it comes from, and we just want to give back and help those kids become better and get their name out there if we can.
Yeah, for sure. And then one thing that I really like about your guys' camp, one thing I want to commend you guys for is that it's easy to go into. And you guys do go to like Lincoln Southwest, so that's one of the stops. But it's easy to see like, okay, let's go to Kearney, Grand Island, Lincoln, Omaha. We're set. You guys, took time. You guys have Valentine, Kimball, Sandhills, Cozad, and like you have other small towns like Wahoo and Nebraska City. They're closer to Omaha Metro, but regardless, these smaller areas where kids may not necessarily have access to. Go to a camp in Lincoln or Omaha on the weekend. So, how important was it for you guys to get into these smaller communities and, kind of help build that offensive line play in those towns like a Valentine or a Kimball or, the Sandhills and stuff like that?
It is very important, to me, being from Mullen, being a small town guy, and Corey is from Giltner, so he's kind of a small town guy too. We just wanted to help those kids. I got called multiple times when I was in college, like, "Hey, can you come do a camp for us or come a few days to practice and help?" And most of the time, I had my own fall camp going on, so I couldn't make it work. And I always got hit ups like, "Hey, we need to do this. You come to practice for a few, like I said, come put on a 2-day camp or whatever it was." And so it was just a need. I think that most of those towns in Nebraska, west of Kearney, kind of the Tryons, the Stapletons, the Thedfords, the Mullens, kind of, those smaller towns, like you had said, aren't close enough to have they're going to have a camp, because most of those camps probably aren't going to have get the numbers they want to make the money that they want to. And so we're willing to go to those places that I guess most of the bigger names probably wouldn't want to because we're from there and we know there's a need and the kids want to learn. Those are the kids who, they're going to bust their butt. They may not have the best technique. They're going to be super raw, but they're willing and very capable and very coachable to learn. That's what is fun about those.
Yeah, 100%. And that's definitely where you go out there and I'm sure you'll find some hidden gems out there. Guys that put some guys on the maps that maybe didn't believe they had the skill to go play at the next level, and they go and compete against other really good players or compete in front of coaches like yourself, and they kind of get that confidence too. So that's awesome, and that's something that I went there I went to the one at Southwest last summer. Great camp. One thing I really liked is by the end of it, you guys were calling the kids by their names and stuff. I go to all kinds of camps and it's like, hey, 12, come over here, or hey, whatever. Like, so, small stuff like that, that's huge, and that's something I commend you guys for. And I think you guys are doing a great job. So, that's Unsung Heroes. And then I guess one last question here, kind of let you go. What's tomorrow? Friday? So tomorrow, we wake up tomorrow, it's Friday. Like movie Freaky Friday, you wake up and you're a freshman in college again. What is the first NIL deal you're trying to strike up?
Oh, man, I don't know. I'm some food place. Give me some free food. That's the biggest thing. The hardest part of going, if you don't have a calf meal or whatever, is sometimes you get home from practice, like, man, I just want something to eat. If I get an NIL deal to, some Runza or jerseys or some hams. Just give me some free food once a week or something. Sure. I'd be happy.
Yeah, man, you're thinking strategic, man. You're thinking after games, I got to get some grub, the cafeteria's closed, all that kind of stuff for sure.
Exactly. I'm a big guy. I was a lineman. I just want fed. Keep me happy.
Yeah, man.
Keep me full and I'll be happy.
Get good little jerseys or what's that place across the street? Comal, you ever eat there? Get one of those places, man, for sure. Awesome, man. Thank you again for doing this.
I seen liars that testified on their oath, I hear rappers not living out what they wrote, my peers ought to be studying, taking notes. How you hate me to the core when I keep your ass afloat. I put